strength and conditioning department. And not just him, by the way. There are quite a number of them who had really had big problems. Now Kim and our physiotherapists have really done a good job. And we are now looking forward to continue working with them to even get them to the next level. So I think everybody was there who watched these fights can attest to the fact that there's a big difference between now and during the Senegal events. Now Ajoy his movement is almost perfect, and that is what actually helped him in this fight. He was very agile. Movement in and out of range was very good. He could move in, put in a combination and move out fast without compromising his position. And that is what enabled him to win this fight, or that fight. So I think there are a lot of positives from the contribution of Coach Kim, the strength and conditioning expert, and our physio.
And something else, I watched his reaction video after the fight, and he simply said in Swahili, niliambiwa baada ya round ya kwanza niliambiwa ni ongeze speed and niweke double jab. I mean, go for 2 jabs, increase the speed and the combinations. Why that change of tactic against Maxime Njie of Cameroon?
Yeah, because Maxime kept coming in. So to get your range and to stop him at the same time, he had to use his double jab. So double jab, double jab to stop it. The first one stops him. The second one gets him off balance, and then he puts in a combination and moves out. So that was the plan, and he really followed it to the letter, like I said earlier. And that's the only way he could have won that fight. Going toe-to-toe with Maxime was like taking himself to the guillotine.
Well, let's look at the other medalists now. Let's talk about the women first. Christine Ongare, flyweight, taking a silver. Overall, and looking at Christine Ongare her division, it was Zalia Munga of the Democratic Republic of Congo who took gold, and there was also Rosette Dongala, also from DRC, and Onela Havyarimana from Burundi.
Yep.
The competition she faced?
Very good competition. In fact, she beat the girl from Burundi and Zalia in Senegal on her way to clinch the ticket for the 2020 Olympics. So this was kind of a return fight for her. Against the Burundian, she was perfect. A little bit of the ring rust, as expected, but she managed to handle the Burundian girl well. And that's actually the fight where she got the injury from an elbow, accidental elbow.
That was on
to the face.
Up to the face, yes.
Yes, right down under the left eye. But being the strong girl that she is, she managed to take the next 2 fights without injury until the doctor stopped her from boxing in the finals. So I think she's on the right track. Very good attitude, psychologically set, and we are looking for about 2 events before we can say now we are fully ready for Tokyo.
The extent of the injury, you could tell us about that?
Yeah, the doctor said she needs like a week or so for it to go down, because there's a huge swelling right under the eye that was affecting her sight and giving her headaches. But she was given some medicine and told to take a break for about a week.
Okay.
So after a week, she'll be okay and ready to go.
Now, let's move on to the women's welterweight. For Elizabeth, the women's elite, the 60 kg, this is the lightweight. Stacey Ayoma making her debut at international level and coming home with a bronze.
Yes.
Against Therese Yumba of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and also Menge Chamala, also from DRC.
As expected, we call her the last born. She's the youngest of the team. She was making her debut, very good. At first, she really got that, we call it ring fright. She was a little bit frightened by the noise and the way the girl attacked her from the word go. She was slapping and moving forward, so she was a little bit unable to handle that pressure, but she went on and finished and lost on points before meeting the second opponent, who is a really good girl. I know her from African Games and the African qualifiers. And she was now able to stake her neck out and put on a good fight. And I think this was a very good experience for her. Very, very good, considering where we want her to go, where we want her to be by the time we are going for the Commonwealth Games. So I think she's also on the right track.
Now, next is Elizabeth Akinyi. First of all, this is one boxer who got into this competition on a high, having had her slot confirmed for the Tokyo Olympics by the IOC Boxing Task Force. She won a bronze, and this was behind Pangwana Sinda of Mozambique, Brigitte Mbabi of DRC, and Helen Makwikila of DRC.
Well, I would say she really did a very good job on the girl from Mozambique. She's actually the number 2 in Africa.
Pangwana Sinda.
Yes, she's the number 2 in Africa after a girl, I think, from Algeria or Morocco. And very good boxer, but Akinyi followed our instructions very well and lost on a 3-2 points decision. That was very good. Well, going for that fight, there's something that not so many people know, because we didn't want to talk about it, because guys would go like, those are excuses. But most of us had a food poisoning problem. So,
here in Nairobi?
No, there. Food was a problem there.
Okay.
We just didn't want to talk about it because we don't want to look like we are giving excuses for.
All right, I remember a picture where you were complaining that lunch hadn't been served on time.
Yes, and when it's served, it's food from yesterday, and there's a time nearly all of these guys had food poisoning.
So from Kenya or the entire contingent, all delegations?
Yeah, most of boxers across board. Yes. So some of them, but you see, it's interesting because the Congolese were not putting up at the same place with us. So maybe they never had that problem, because they were spending time in a different hotel, eating differently. So we were the only guys in this hotel. So when we had this problem, definitely it affects your with the fights.
Yes.
But these guys gave their all. I allowed them for that, and I'm really looking forward to now taking them to the next stage after watching their fights and identifying the weaknesses.
Now, one other boxer, Elizabeth and Diego, a middleweight bronze.
Also deserved, well deserved. She would have done better because we feel like the officiating in her fight against the Congolese boxer was not fair. She lost against the Mozambican, who is actually number 1
in Africa.
Graman
Rudy.
Yes, a very good boxer as well under Southpaw. But she won the second and third fights. But like I said earlier, officiating was in another level. But we don't want to talk so much. I don't want to dwell so much on that because guys are thinking we are giving excuses.
Anyway, but the question is how much reforms, because it's a global problem when it comes to officiating, boxing officiating. What is the new IBA doing to ensure that the refereeing and judging is fair in the sport?
Well, for this one, I think it's the Congolese Federation that has a problem, because most of the judges who are there for this competition were from Congo. They are really down. I don't think they're up there. You could see from, okay, I don't know whether it was a plan or
I don't want
just
to get
not
into
good.
speculating. To speculate.
It was either a plan or they're not just good.
Okay, but because I'll raise that issue about a fight that was stopped. When it comes to the men's winners, David Karanja, not our Karanja David, by the way. Don't confuse him. Karanja is okay. He's safe. He's at home. He's taking his week off after, after working hard all of last week, winning a silver for Karanja in the flyweight. What's the implication for this division now?
That is very good. Now we have proper competition in the flyweight. He was also making his debut. This is his first time out, not even in the intercities for Nairobi. This was his first, so it was a really big task, but surrounded by guys who are giving him confidence, that is his colleagues, and the training that we've had, he's really put up a good show. I think he's on his way up. We only need now to deal and manage, once the first outing and you win silver. Actually, we all thought that he deserved the gold medal from the fight he put up. I think you watched the fight.
Yes. But
now we need to manage his ego and the problems that come with such performance. But otherwise, technically and tactically, he's only on the route for improvement.
So, looks like individual sport have got stories to tell when it comes to ego at that level. Nicholas Okoth, commander as they call him, taking a silver. And there were concerns basically about one of his fights.
The decision, the final, that was a problem. It was another problem. But like I said, I don't want to appear like I'm giving excuses, so I'll only deal with the positives that I took from that fight and the negatives. Whether he won gold or not, there must have been a few things that we need to work on, and that's what we are going to do.
Okay.
We're actually going to work on his power, punching power. That's the only thing that he really needs right now.
That's for Nick Okoth.
For Nick Okoth.
The punching power really...
That is what we need to work on.
Okay, let's compare.
We have a report for Coach Kim, for Nick, and I think one or two other guys.
Okay. Now, quickly, I want you to tell me why you picked Cosby Ouma and Edwin Okongo for the middleweight. Two boxers, one division.
Yes. They're the best in the country right now. Both have lost to the other previously in the National League. So we decided, like I said earlier, we need to look further than the Olympics. We have the Commonwealth Games and so on. What we normally lack is exposure. So we decided to take both so that they can get this experience. And it was very good. It was a very good experience for both of them. So when they come back and everything goes back to normal, hopefully they'll fight against each other. They've got the experience. We need to go back to a situation where we can even have two teams representing us in different competitions, two strong teams. You see right now the gap between the national team boxers and those who are supposed to fill in is so huge. And this is because of lack of exposure for those upcoming ones. So we want to bridge that gap by giving all the number twos, number threes exposure in the different tournaments so that we have them at the same level. In case of injury, for example, somebody else can step up and represent effectively.
And finally now, cessation of sports. What's the plan for boxing, for the Boxing Federation of Kenya, BFK, and NOC to ensure that there is some form of continued training, given that the Olympics is there after the Public Order Act was released by President Uhuru Kenyatta on Friday?
Yes, we appreciate what the president is doing because this pandemic is really causing havoc. And you see, this order was given while he was out of the country. So now that we're back, we'll talk to the Olympic 2020 organizing committee or the guys in, and the relevant authorities and see at least how the national team can continue training, because we realize that this is a very crucial time. We are like 3 months to Olympics, and if we stop training right now, we'll undo everything that we've done for the last few months, and that will put us at a very awkward position. And basing it on the last event that we had in Congo, you could see the challenges of going for a long time without fights. So we are hoping that the relevant authorities will at least allow the national team to we observe the protocols that have been set, the guidelines, and continue with our training as we prepare for the Olympics.
Well, Musa Benjamin, he is the coach of the national boxing team, the Heat squad, and they collected 13 medals at the Africa Zone 3 boxing championships that were held in Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. 1 gold, 5 silver, and 7 bronze. Well, that's the first part of our conversation this morning. We'll be getting into the second